Midsummer is just around the corner and we collected some fun DIYs to level up your decorations. For example, these beautiful flower candle holders, these raisin coasters, fake strawberries and a hand-painted serving dish. Let's start with our first project, the candle holders. You will need some glass jars, twine, varnish, tweezers, a paintbrush and of course dried flowers. Start by applying a thin, even layer of varnish to a small section of the glass. Then carefully place your flowers onto the glass and make sure it's glued on securely. You can use your tweezers and fingers to dab them on. Repeat this process with as many flowers as you like. Once you're done, allow the varnish to completely dry. Afterwards, you can apply another thin coat on top of the flowers to seal them. After the second layer had dried as well, I added some twine ribbons to my candle holders. I think it looks so cute with it. Our next project are these resin coasters. For those you'll need 2 small buckets, resin, molds, dried flowers, something to mix the resin with, and a bowl with hot water. Fill the resin and the hardener into 2 separate buckets. Place them both into your bowl with hot water for about 2 to 3 minutes and stir them once in a while. Afterwards, you can mix the resin and the hardener and stir everything for 3 minutes. Next, place your dried flowers into the molds and arrange them to your liking. Carefully pour the resin into the molds and over your flowers. Sometimes things will move up to the surface, but you can just push them back into the resin. This often causes air bubbles, but you can easily eliminate them by using a lighter and quickly moving it over the resin. After that, you just need to let them harden for about 24 hours, and then you can enjoy your beautiful resin coasters. Next up is the summery serving plate. You will need buckets, plaster, water, something to mix the plaster with, your favorite mold, paint and brushes. Start by mixing the plaster and the water really well. You don't want any lumps in it. Then fill the plaster into the mold. It's a good idea to wiggle the mold a little bit so that the plaster covers everything and the air bubbles disappear. Once the plaster has hardened, you can either leave it as it is or paint it. I chose a light pink as a base color for mine. Since I want to use the plate for midsummer, I decided to paint some strawberries on it. With the help of a brush end, I stamped the leaves of my strawberry blossoms onto the plate. Meanwhile, my strawberries had dried and I added some leaves and stems to them. The last step for me was stamping some yellow circles onto the blossoms. And that's it! Last but not least, we want to show you how to make these fake strawberries. We actually have a separate video on them if you want to check it out. You will need some plaster, we used foam yips, alginate, some buckets, water, something to mix the alginate with, a scale, paint and paint brushes, and of course some real strawberries. Start off by cleaning the strawberries and cutting off the leaves. Then place them in a bucket, but make sure to keep enough space between the individual strawberries. Put them aside for now and start preparing the alginate. Simply combine the powder and the water and mix very well. I think it's easiest to use one of these kitchen mixers for it. Pour the alginate carefully over the strawberries and make sure to cover everything. Within 3 to 5 minutes, the alginate will turn from pink to white. The white color indicates that it is completely hard. Now it's time for some surgery. Carefully separate the strawberries from the alginate. Once you have removed all the strawberries from the mold, wash it and let it dry. Now you'll need to combine the plaster with some water. Then mix it very well. Fill the plaster into the mold, but not all the way up yet. Leave a little bit of room. Hit the bucket onto the table a couple of times. Like this you minimize possible air bubbles and ensure the plaster fills out the molds completely. Now you can fill up the rest of the mold. Let it harden for some hours or overnight and then take the mold out of the bucket. Now you can remove the alginate and see your everlasting strawberries for the very first time. The last step is painting our strawberries. I took a photo of my strawberries before that I took for reference of the color. Just mix your desired color and you're ready to go. Start by adding a base layer of red. We will add some more details later. Once the base layer has dried, you can add a tiny bit of a yellowish color on top of the strawberries. Use the dry brush technique and take a tiny amount of paint onto a dry brush. Then dab it onto the strawberries. The very last part is adding color to the tiny seeds of the strawberries. This step takes quite some time and precision, so turn on your favorite podcast or audiobook while you're doing that. And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this video and that you found some inspiration for your summer decorations. Glad Midsummer!